The emperor of rare earths. How did China capture the world with Earth's hidden treasure? Imagine, a production line is running in the morning at an electric car factory. Machines are ready, workers are standing at their places, orders are already booked, but suddenly a small thing goes missing. No battery, no tire, no steel, but a small magnet, which to the eyes looks like a common metal, but the life of the entire car is hidden in it. At the same time, radar system testing stops in a defense lab of another country, the assembly of a smartphone company gets delayed, and the shipment of a company making wind turbines gets stuck. The fear begins right here, because for the first time the world realizes that modern technology does not run just on chips and software, but also on rare earth elements hidden under the ground. And the curiosity is, what exactly did China do, that its control over these tiny metals of the earth started making the world's biggest economies restless? Hearing rare earth, it feels like they must be very rare on Earth, but the story is a bit different. Rare earth elements are actually a group of 17 metals, in which scandium, yttrium and lanthanides are considered to be included. These elements are present on Earth, but extracting them, separating them and converting them into a usable form is a very difficult, expensive and pollution-heavy process. This is the reason why the one who just has a mine doesn't become the king. The real king becomes the one who has the entire chain from mining to refining, processing, and making the final product. The USGS also defines rare earths as a group of 17 elements, and also clarifies that their mineable concentrations are less common than common mineral commodities. China understood this fact long ago. It did not consider rare earth just a mining business, but considered it the foundation of future power. The world was talking about oil, steel, and electronics at that time. But China was quietly gaining a hold on those materials, without which electric vehicles, smartphones, missiles, radars, wind turbines and advanced electronics could remain incomplete. This was not an overnight success. This was a story of 3 decades of planning, government support, low-cost production, raw material access, and aggressive pricing in the global market. There was even a time when America was a strong player in the rare earth space. California's Mountain Pass mine was counted among the world's important sources. But rare earth mining is not just the work of digging the ground. It also involves chemical separation, waste handling, and environmental risk. As costs increased and China started supplying material at cheaper rates, Western companies slowly started backing out. The buyer in the market wanted cheap goods, and China was providing the same. Initially, this just seemed like business, but later this pricing strategy turned into a global dependency. China's real strength was not just that it had rare earth deposits. The real strength was that it built the entire industrial ecosystem. First, raw ore was extracted, then it was separated, then oxides were made, metals were made, alloys were made, and finally high-value products like permanent magnets were made. These magnets are used in electric vehicle motors, wind turbines, speakers, sensors, and defense equipment. Meaning, China didn't just sell dirt, it kept the material flowing in the veins of technology under its control. Today the situation is that if we look at rare earth mining, China is still the biggest player. According to 2026 USGS data, world mine production in 2025 was approximately 390,000 tons REO equivalent, in which China's production was shown as 270,000 tons. In the same table, America is seen at 51,000 tons, and India at only 2,900 tons. Meaning, even in extracting material from the ground, China is very far ahead, but its grip in the chain of processing and magnets is considered even deeper. This is where the story becomes dangerous, because rare earth does not just mean mine production. If a country has a mine, but does not have the facility to refine it, it will have to send the raw material outside. If refining happens outside, then control will also be outside. And if the final magnet is also made outside, then your electric vehicle industry, electronics industry and defense industry will become dependent on another country's supply. China caught this exact gap and slowly made the world a customer of its processing network. According to Money Control's analysis of USGS data, China's rare earth trade increased manifold in the last 3 decades, while India's capacity grew at a very limited pace during the same period. The report also stated that around 1995, the production of China and America was almost comparable, but by 2024, China had moved many times ahead of America. Between 2012 and 2023, China's share in global REE exports was reported to have increased from 56% to 63%. Now the question comes, how did China leave other countries behind? The answer is not just cheap labor. The answer is policy, patience and pressure. China supported companies, built infrastructure, secured raw material supply and gave material to global buyers at a low price. Outside companies felt that instead of doing expensive and complicated production in their own country, it is better to import from China. This thinking slowly became a habit, then became a dependency, and then became a strategic weakness. The story of rare earth magnets is the biggest example of this. The value of a simple magnet is understood at the time when an electric vehicle motor stops without it. Today, in the world of clean energy, products like neodymium iron boron magnets and samarium cobalt magnets are very important. These are small, powerful, and used in high-performance machines. But making them is not easy. For this, exact composition, precision manufacturing, and stable supply are needed. China strengthened its position in this downstream industry as well, so that the world remains dependent on it not just for raw rare earth, but also for ready-to-use components. India's story here is very interesting. We have potential, there are monazite-bearing mineral sands on the coastline, and there has been talk of rare earth resources. In the USGS 2025 summary, India's rare earth reserves were shown at 6.9 million tons, but in the 2026 summary, India's mine production appears as only 2,900 tons. This contrast tells us that having a resource underground and becoming powerful in the global supply chain are two different things. India's biggest challenge is that we have resource discussion, but large-scale processing, separation technology, magnet manufacturing, and a private investment ecosystem are not yet as strong as China's. Selling rare earth just by digging it doesn't give a big benefit. The benefit comes when high-value products are made from it. If India has to move ahead in this race, it will have to focus more on processing and downstream manufacturing than on mining. Now let's come to that moment, which shook the world again. In April 2025, China imposed export controls on some medium and heavy rare earth-related items. According to the official Chinese announcement, this step was taken in the name of national security, interests, and non-proliferation obligations. In this, materials like samarium, gadolinium, terbium, dysprosium, lutetium, scandium, and yttrium-related items were included, and exporters were brought under a license system. According to Reuters, these controls affected not just raw minerals, but even permanent magnets and finished products. This restriction was not just for America but was applicable to all countries. This very thing was the scariest, because this message was clear that if geopolitics worsens, the rare earth supply chain can immediately become a weapon. Its impact started showing in industries immediately. The auto sector was the first to get alerted, because the demand for magnets, sensors, and electronics in electric vehicles and modern cars is continuously increasing. Reuters reported in June 2025 that some European auto parts plants suspended output, and automakers started finding ways to avoid rare earth shortage. Even aerospace, semiconductor, and military contractors were feeling the supply chain pressure. Think, the world wants to move from fossil fuels to clean energy. Every country wants to increase electric vehicles, install wind energy, and build advanced defense systems. But if one country has such strong control over the basic materials for all of these, then the energy transition also becomes a geopolitical risk. This is the rare earth paradox. The world wants a green future, but the key to that green future is largely stuck in China's hands. China has learned to use rare earth not just as a business but as bargaining power. As long as supply runs smoothly, the world does not realize its importance. But as soon as talk of export licenses, documentation, testing, or delays comes up, the planning of the entire industry gets shaken. Modern factories run on just-in-time supply chains. Their warehouses do not have years of stock. Therefore, even a small delay in rare earth can stop the production line. America, Europe, Japan, Australia, and India are now trying to reduce this dependency. Some are developing new mines, some are building processing plants, some are working on recycling, and some are researching alternate magnets. But building a rare earth supply chain is not easy. Opening a mine takes time, environmental approvals take time, separation technology takes time, and most importantly, competing with China's pricing in the market is very difficult. For India, this is not just a risk but an opportunity. If India gives the right direction to its coastal mineral resources, scientific institutions, and manufacturing push, then it can build a meaningful role in the rare earth supply chain. But for this, short-term announcements will not work. Long-term policy, stable regulation, private sector participation, environmental safeguards, and technology partnerships will be necessary. Just saying we have reserves does not get respect in the global market. Respect is earned when you become a reliable supplier. India will also have to understand that in rare earth, national security and business are not separate things. The material from which an electric vehicle motor is made can also be used in defense radar and missile guidance systems, meaning this sector is dual use. Therefore, the policy in this must also be strategic and the industry must also be disciplined. If we do not invest today, then tomorrow we might have to wait for another country's approval for the same material. China's story also gives us a big business lesson. The world often sees the final product, but real power is often hidden in the invisible supply chain. The smartphone shines, but behind it is rare earth. The electric car runs silently, but there is a magnet in its motor. The wind turbine gives clean energy, but inside it are special materials. The country that controls these hidden materials can also control the speed of future industries. 3 decades ago, rare earth seemed like a boring mineral topic. Today that same topic is at the center of boardrooms, defense ministries and trade negotiations. China invested in this field with patience, weakened competitors with price pressure, built a processing ecosystem, and then strengthened its grip on downstream products as well. This is the reason why today it is called the emperor of the world of rare earth. But the story does not end here. The real question now is, will the world be able to balance this control of China? Will India be able to turn its resources into real industrial power? Will the future supply of electric vehicles, smartphones, and defense systems remain dependent on one country's policy? And the biggest question, if the supply of rare earth stops again tomorrow, will the world be prepared, or will the breadth of the entire technology economy get stuck for a small magnet?
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.